Hey Capricorn, it's Suzanne with Sunny Forest Tarot here to do a weekly series or a reading series for you this week. So you will see part one on Monday, you'll see part 2 on Tuesday, part 3 on Wednesday, and part 4 on Thursday, okay? So let's get started. Let's start by pulling a Lenormand card for you. And then let's get into the tarot. All right. All right, so what we're looking at here, the situation, what you're manifesting in this situation, the details around the situation, and finally, the guidance in this situation. All right, so let's start here with Lenormand. What do we have? Okay, so we have the whip. All right, so number 11, there's some type of enlightenment that's happening for you around a pattern, perhaps. Okay, let's see what this is about. Okay, we have the Fool. So card of Aries, one card of Aries, I should say. So I almost feel like this could be around a fool in love. That might be a pattern, or that might be a pattern that you believe about yourself, that you find yourself in situations where you consider yourself to be a little bit of a fool in love. I don't think that's a bad pattern to be in. I don't think that's a bad thing, because it's authentic, okay? But when in relationships, when a relationship doesn't work out, you can easily say, well, that was a bad thing for me. What I feel like this is saying is that you continue to be open to love in spite of the fact that other relationships haven't worked out in the past. So I feel like that is a good thing in this particular situation. So let's look at what you're manifesting here. 9 of Swords. Okay, so this isn't a good thing if this is present. If this is what you're manifesting is simply worry based on what has happened in the past, how is that serving you? Every one of these swords represents a worry, a concern, an assumption, a negative assumption. And the 9 of Swords acts like a prayer. So every time you worry, every time you assume, every time you have a negative thought about something, you might be in a negative place about a new love, okay? You're thinking, oh no, this is going to happen again. Well, you don't know that. You don't know that. And if you go in that direction and that's what you're thinking and that's what you're spending your time worrying about, you can create that. You can recreate a pattern just by how you're thinking. So very important to change your thoughts to change your life, because that is not what you want to be manifesting of all things. Details around the situation. Look at that, 10 of Cups. So what this tells me is there is a little bit of a lack of belief, or you might be losing a little bit of faith that something could work out for you the way that you see it as being completely emotionally fulfilling. 10 of Cups is always a future card. So I feel like this is saying, wait a minute, we have the potential for 10 of Cups in this situation, whether you can see everything right now or not. I feel like the universe is saying, be careful of falling into old patterns of thinking. When you allow yourself to be a fool in love, to be vulnerable, to be open, to allow something to be brand new, just like if you were a child seeing it for the first time, you do yourself a favor instead of, continuing to revisit negative patterns. You, in some way, create those negative patterns by how you are thinking. So it's like you've got a choice here. What do we have here for guidance? Queen of Wands. Okay, so this can be a card of Leo. So we've got some fire energy here. Fool and Queen of Wands. It's like, I feel like the universe is saying, when you are the best version of yourself, no one can stop you. Okay? It's when you do this to yourself that things start to go sideways on you. So I really feel like this is about allowing your passion to show, allowing the best version of yourself to come through, and really think about why certain patterns have formed in your life in the past. Why have they formed? Did you have negative assumptions going in? The first time something went a little bit sideways, did you automatically assume the worst? Just because something isn't exactly the way you believe it should be today doesn't mean that it won't be exactly the way you feel it should be tomorrow. This is about hope and faith a little bit. So let's take a look at, let's take a look at the whip, see what that's about. Let's see what it is that you're so worried about. Two of Pentacles. Okay, so you might be in between two people. You might be in between two directions, two situations. You know, you might be having a hard time figuring out what direction to go in. So this is, Two of Pentacles boils down to being indecisive. Okay, so if you aren't at 100% as far as what direction to go in, what would it take to get you to 100%? That's why you end up falling into certain patterns, is because of indecisiveness in some way. All right, so what is it that we're manifesting here? Why are we so worried? And then Devil, that's your card. Okay, so this is saying you control this. You can change this anytime you want. Okay, when the Devil comes up in a Capricorn reading, for the most part, you know, I speak to it as though this is your energy. Okay, do Capricorns have a tendency to assume the negative? Definitely. So that's something that you are being asked to try to change. But what brings on those negative thoughts is indecisiveness. Maybe this isn't your indecisiveness. Maybe this is somebody else's indecisiveness, okay? That frustrates you, that makes you worry, that makes you feel like, you know, maybe you're not, that somebody isn't 100% for you, or a situation isn't 100% for you, in favor of you. But more often, I feel like for the majority, it's about your indecisiveness. You might think it's somebody else's, but I feel like it's yours. So let's take a look at the Fool in love. Fool, and then I want to look at Queen of Wands, which is the advice on being the best version of yourself, which you can be, you can choose to be. The Fool, what do we have? Six of Wands. Okay, so when you allow yourself to be open and vulnerable and maybe even a little bit naive, which is okay, okay? I would prefer to be naive over cynical, okay? Because you're being a little bit cynical here. Okay, when you're open and allowing yourself to take a risk, allowing yourself to trust the universe, trust the unknown, that's where Six of Wands, that's where you'll find victory. Okay, this over here is what needs to change. So Queen of Wands. Queen of Wands. Then we have Two of Swords. So this, I feel like this is saying here, you can choose to be the best version of yourself, or you can choose to, you know, block your heart and put a blindfold on and just be in your head, right? That's what this is. Nine of Swords. I feel like Spirit is saying take off the blindfold so you can see clearly. You can see the situation clearly if you look. It's when you hide your head, or, you know, you're sitting in a dark room worried. That's when you really can't see the whole picture. I feel like a choice needs to be made, verified here by Spirit, verified over here, which, you know, tells me that that's been a little bit of a challenge for you when it comes to love. Maybe the question is, why are you always in a situation where you're having to make a big choice when it comes to love or new love, okay, in order to get to 10 of Cups? I feel like a lot of you feel like 10 of Cups has eluded you. Ten of Cups and then Three of Cups. So Three of Cups, you know, the base meaning of the Three of Cups is celebration. There's every reason to believe that you will have something to celebrate here when you allow yourself to be vulnerable to the flow of the universe. And that's where you find victory. You find victory when you take off your blindfold, get out of the dark, make a choice, be decisive. This, you know, be the best version of yourself. That's what all of this is saying. This is saying, you know, let's kill old patterns. We don't have to relive old patterns. Once we identify the pattern, and the pattern for you in some way is around making decisions. You know, when you have trouble making a decision, you end up stuck. So you might be stuck in, you know, whatever you feel stuck in, that's what you worry about. And what you worry about affects you. But you can change what you think about, which opens you up to possibly being able to see the right path, the right decision to break the pattern. Open yourself up, be the best version of yourself, allow yourself, give yourself permission to have emotional fulfillment in the future. That is something to celebrate. And ultimately, by being vulnerable, maybe a little bit naive versus cynical, that leads you to victory. All right, so we're going to get 2 oracle cards. 2 oracle cards. We'll see how this story unfolds throughout the week. All right, so what do we have here? All right, so this whole situation could be about romantic feelings that you have for somebody, or, you know, mutual romantic feelings, or romantic feelings that somebody has about you, or maybe that's what you're indecisive about. Your feelings are real and worth exploring. So allowing yourself to be vulnerable in the exploring, I feel like, is important. And then what do we have here? A beautiful face. A beautiful face, and then we have the number 3, which is about communication. I feel like somebody would like to tell you how beautiful they think that you truly are. Not only on the outside, but on the inside. That's probably something that you need to hear right now. I feel like that's more of something that you need to hear. But maybe you don't believe somebody would say that to you or share that with you. What's this beautiful face about? This might be that you are very attracted to somebody physically. I don't know. Let's see. We have Four of Wands. So it's deeper. It's definitely deeper than just a pretty face, okay? This is something that Four of Wands, maybe you feel like you are connected to a soulmate, a twin, but Four of Wands says that there is, like, you can't see a reason for why something would end with somebody, okay? And if you think about it, think about all of your relationships in the past. Most of them, well, all of them ended, right? How soon into the relationship could you really see a reason as to why it might end? This one, I don't feel like you can see a reason as to why it would end. So that makes it a little bit fairy tale-ish for you. And, you know, Capricorn, you know, tends to be very earthbound, very grounded, not very fairy tale-like, right? So that's a hard concept to wrap your head around, that, wow, maybe something could last forever for me. But you have gotten maybe a little bit cynical based on past experiences. So it's like, find your childlike, naive, that innocent part of you that just allows yourself to follow the flow. All right? All right, Capricorn, that is part 1 for you. We will talk to you tomorrow with part 2. All right? Thanks so much. Bye.